My wife has a new nickname for me that I'm not sure if I'm a fan of.
Go on.
Old man.
Welcome to Multiple Nerdgasm with your hosts, Matt, Luke, and Dan. Multiple Nerdgasm, your guide to all things nerdy.
I mean, she's married to an old man, so we could make fun of her for that.
But that still doesn't help me out because I'm the old man.
You're the old man, yeah.
Yeah.
My daughter this week pushed on my tummy and said, so squishy, and then proceeded to turn it into a mouth and make it say, nice to meet you. So I think I've got to go on a diet.
Or I might shock you with something I did this morning. I went to the gym.
That does shock me. Okay. Yes, let's talk about this.
Hannah, I've been promising Hannah I'll go to her mobility course one weekend. It was her birthday this week, and I went, birthday present, I'll go to mobility class.
That's not a bad birthday present for Hannah, actually, because she's more likely, I think, to appreciate you looking after your health than something that you bought off Amazon for her.
It is true, yes. So I went, I had fun. But it was weird getting
So
up
mobility
early.
class, this is something she does.
Yes.
This is not necessarily something remedial that you're just doing now.
No, this is something that she does. It's not like a full workout session. It's more about flexibility and just movement than...
That does sound good, actually. So do you feel more flexible now?
I do.
Would you go again?
Rubbery after the end. I might. I said I might.
Okay. Yeah. So this could be a once a week kind of thing.
It could be.
Don't
just
push yourself
depends.
further than that.
The problem is getting up. For some reasons, I struggle to get out of bed on the weekends.
But not because of lack of mobility that would be helped by this class, right? Because that's circular logic.
Yeah, no, I don't know. Weekends, it could be, there are times I'll get up like 5 minutes before we record the podcast because I just can't get out of bed. And
I remember those days.
We record at midday.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
I get the option. You don't get the choice. You have.
I don't get the choice, and I've started getting up half an hour earlier than my daughter now too, so that I can get some stuff done before she's awake. Because once she's up, that's it. It's all about her until I drop her off at school. So yeah. So now I give up even earlier just so I can make a coffee in my own time.
Yeah. Enjoy a bit of you time before.
Yeah.
The terror awakes.
That's right. I should be using that time to go to the gym though, but I haven't.
Yeah. Well, after your squishy belly, nice to meet you.
Yeah. Nice to meet you.
Kids are great.
Yeah.
They have no filter.
No, they wouldn't even know why they would need to filter.
No, nothing wrong with that. Squidgy, nice to meet you. Oh, before we go, we should probably let people know Matt's not here.
Oh yeah, Matt's not here, but it's for a good reason this time. Not that he's usually not a good reason, but I just mean nobody's sick. He's just doing something more interesting than this.
Yes, he's going to PAX East. It's East, isn't it? Yes, that's Boston. Yeah. So I'm very, very jealous because I like.
Yeah. Now, actually, I haven't looked at the itinerary, but is there anything or anyone cool on at PAX that we are likely to hear about next week?
I don't know.
Let's have a look.
I am going to throw to Matt at one point during this and get him to give us an update of what's there.
That's a great idea. Oh, there's a whole lot of Lovecraft, horror RPGs, Call of Cthulhu, Delta Green, Eldritch, Automata.
Oh,
that's cool.
I think
all day
really
Tekken, D&D Adventure League.
God, we're gonna go. We have to go. I have to go to PAX East again one time. I do like that convention center. It's just
I only went to PAX Prime. I've never been to PAX East at all, so that would be a first for me. But
sort of comes at a good time because PAX East is on now, and PAX Australia tickets go on sale this week.
They do. So, is PAX Oz doing anything fun this year?
No, I like PAX Oz. It's I used to I used to go for like the big stuff, like the Xbox and stuff like that, and then they sort of stopped going and have such a big presence.
Yes.
And I thought that was a bit sad until I realised Australia makes good games.
Sure.
We have like a great indie scene.
We got great indie games. Yeah.
And they get more of a look in now. And that's what I spend most of my time doing, is looking at that.
So
like,
usually they would kind of entice people with like what the panels and stuff are going to be before tickets go on sale. But just looking at the website now, there's nothing online yet.
No,
that's interesting.
They don't. For this, they'll announce panels and stuff much later. But I'll keep you informed.
Yes, please. Interesting. So this is still on in Melbourne, right?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. Yeah. It's been a while since I've gone down to Melbourne. Interesting.
So come with us in October. It'll be fun.
October. Yeah. Okay.
Basically, you go down. I do a lot of drinking. I go around and play a lot of games. I play a lot of board games. I go on a lot of board game tournaments, lose them all.
Yeah.
Oh, the
winning's not the point.
Tournaments lost. And then...
yeah.
And then, that's sort of it. And you can play a bit of D&D if you want.
What about the oysters?
The Buckashuck. It's not there every year.
Okay. All right. That's a very reasonably priced oyster, though.
Yes. I normally get about 2 dozen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, everyone else gets one. Like, they'll get a dozen. I get 2 dozen at least. Make myself sick.
Yeah.
I
was in a pub once, and they came and put 3 oysters in front of me. And I said, "Are these for me?" Because I didn't order any oysters.
Yes.
And they said, "Yeah, dig in." And I was like, "Fucking 3 oysters, great." So I ate the oysters.
Yep.
And then somebody came up and went, "Sorry, did you just take some oysters that didn't belong to you?" And I was like, I asked if they belonged to me, and I was assured that they did. So
I said, "Are you sure?"
Yeah. They're gone now. They're gone.
One thing that annoys me when people get oysters, when they'll get them like Kilpatrick and stuff.
Oh, no.
Oysters,
I don't even put like salt on my oysters. I want my oysters to taste like an oyster.
Yeah, or sometimes just a little bit of lime. Just
a little bit of lemon or lime. Yep.
Just a little bit.
Help it go down.
It depends on the oyster sometimes. Sometimes they do need a little something. But Kilpatrick, you're spending a lot of money more, but you're not really...
Yeah,
it's not
don't cook an oyster. That's not what they're for.
Kilpatrick.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, anything... Just eat a bunch of cheese and bacon if that's what you want to taste.
Yeah.
But if you want to taste the ocean, if you want to know what the ocean tastes like, eat an oyster.
That's why I'm so looking forward. In a few weeks, I'll be eating oysters.
You will be by the sea, will you? Tell me more.
Well, in our trip to Vietnam and Malaysia,
yes.
You can get oysters there are like they're basically a Buckashuck.
Yeah. There's good food in Vietnam, and like those kind of banh mi pork rolls that are very, very trendy here in Sydney that cost like $10, $11, $12 now are like also $1. And they're just by the side of the road. You'll just see someone standing there with a little table, and
I'm
they're the
quite
best
happy
you've
to
ever
eat
had.
street food when I travel. I roll the dice.
Yeah, I think Malaysian street food is some of the best street food I've ever eaten.
I am really looking forward to going to the night markets and just trying weird stuff.
You're going to a place called Malacca, I believe.
Yes.
And some of the best food I've ever had. And I literally bought some char kway teow, which is fried noodles, right, from a street vendor who at the time she was selling me, her colleague was washing other dishes from previous people in the literal gutter behind.
But was it wonderful?
It was fucking great. It was the best.
You just got to not think about it. Just don't think about where it came from. And
yeah.
No, I've only had food poisoning once, and it was when I was in Thailand, and I've been eating street food all fine. I got food poisoning from a cheeseburger from the hotel last night. When I thought I was going to play it safe.
I was like that in China. I ate at regional Chinese restaurants out in mainland China, no problem. I ate the Western meal on the return flight back home, and the sausages gave me immense food poisoning.
And when people say they've had food poisoning and they sort of explain, sorry, I've had food poisoning. No, food poisoning is when you're making a decision about which end is pointing at the toilet. That is food poisoning.
You've been literally poisoned. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was on the last night, and the flight back was hell.
Yeah, on a flight. At least I got mine on a flight, so it didn't hit me until I was at my next destination.
I was, like, nearly going to the hospital in the hotel the night before, but the next day I was not going to get up flight, and not a good flight.
I did go to hospital the last time I had food poisoning. I had it so bad that on the 4th day of it just being unrelenting, I was like, oh, there's something really, really wrong with me.
Yeah.
And I went to the hospital and they did all the checks and they said, no, you do just have food poisoning, but it can last up to a week. I was like, fuck off.
You just got to keep your fluids up.
Yeah, you just got to ride this out.
Yeah. Right. Let's talk about something fun, because that sort of took a bit of a twist.
It did, didn't it?
So we can talk about some terrible news about Hollywood making a terrible decision and not listening to us.
There's plenty of that. Where do you want to start?
James Bond.
Yeah. So
what are they doing?
So look, I double-checked this just before recording today, and there has still been no official announcement, but there has been plenty of unofficial talk that Aaron Taylor-Johnson will be announced as the next James Bond. He was definitely in the running a couple of years ago when they were throwing out names. If you don't know the name, listeners, Kick-Ass is probably his most famous role, but that was several years ago. He's done a lot since then now. He's done...
Kick-Ass was like 14, 15 years ago or something. Like, it's...
Yeah, who does he... Is he Quicksilver in the MCU? He's somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he...
Yeah, it's Quicksilver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's the soldier at the end of Tenet, who leads the reverse pincer movement. He's
sort of, like, if we go...
He's the fuckwit in Nocturnal Animals.
Like, with his old stuff, I could sort of see, but it really feels like they're going with the same style of Bond that we just had. It doesn't look like they're mixing it up.
Yeah, unless he wants to... Because he's a bit, he's got tattoos and he's a bit of a... he comes across like he could be a bit of a lad, do the kind of the brute James Bond. But as you've said, we've seen that now.
Yeah.
And I liked it. I loved Daniel Craig, but I don't know if we need it again, the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, I would like it, actually.
Switch it up. Like,
yeah. I wonder, though, if Aaron Taylor-Johnson couldn't do a proper suave James Bond, like another Brosnan, like a just always in the... I mean, Craig always looked good, but he's still always just a brute, right?
Yes.
A blunt hammer.
Yeah.
But this guy, he's good looking. I'm sure he looks nice in a tuxedo. I can see it. But it just depends on the direction they go.
I'm just saying they made a huge mistake. Rahul, right there, he would be the perfect James Bond.
Right there, I know, right? Yeah.
Like, he would, I guarantee if you ask him, he will say yes.
Yeah.
And I think it would be...
no one's asking him. That's the only problem.
He'll say yes. He's got that humour, but he can also play straight if you need.
Yeah. I mean, other than Kick-Ass, I don't know if Aaron Taylor-Johnson's got any of that humour,
Yeah.
Daniel Craig certainly didn't crack any jokes.
If you look like Rahul, he's got the comedy, like you said in iZombie. He's got that sort of comedy side. Then you've got like Midnight Mass, where he's just more serious,
dead serious.
He can it'll.
Here's the problem with James Bond, right? And doing it camp is that Austin Powers parodied it so well that to do it camp again might just be a parody of a parody.
Yeah, but I think they could go like leaning a bit more into the gadgets, like in a bit more of a fun way, even just in the background. Because remember, like that was part of the things. Like in the background, more crazy stuff was happening with like flamethrowers and stuff. And just give me that. I'd watch that.
Yeah. So my favorite Bond is of the old school ones is From Russia with Love, right? And at the start of From Russia with Love, he gets issued a whole bunch of gadgets. The watch with the strangle wire in it, the magnetized knife, and the briefcase that if you put the combination in wrong, it blows gas at you and all this stuff like this. And every single one of those was used by Bond in the movie.
Yes.
Right? It's like somehow they knew what he was going to get up to and they matched it perfectly. But I think some of the later ones, like, I mean, one of my favorite modern ones is GoldenEye. They give him a car with all his stuff. Yeah, he doesn't even have a car chase. He just drives it out to an airport and gets on a plane, right? We've got to start seeing him use the stuff. If you're going to put him there, he's got to use it.
What was the gadget they had in the original one? Like, there was the gun thing. That only he could fire the gun. That was sort of it.
Yeah,
and that caused a problem when he wore gloves.
Yeah, everyone forgot that was part of the plot. Yeah.
Yeah. So, look, Hollywood, you got it.
I mean, there's jokes about it. I remember when he gives him a watch and he's like, "What does this do?" And he says, "It tells the fucking time."
Yeah.
Like, they know we want the gadgets. They just, but I think just not too over the top. The invisible car, too much. Even in the old ones, the jetpack, too much.
Just dial it back that little bit. We want the gadgets, but we don't want silly gadgets. We want invisible stuff.
Yeah.
Believable.
Yeah. What do they still do gadgets in the real espionage world? Or it feels like we've got better stuff on our phones now than they did in the Cold War.
I don't think they really did, like, apart from like a microphone and a camera, like that type of stuff. That's really it, wasn't it? Like,
I don't know. I have a feeling some of this is based in truth.
They don't have a laser watch or anything.
No, not a laser watch, but I believe, and listeners, write in if you know more about this than I do, but I believe that Ian Fleming worked for the State Department during the war, and it was up to him to come up with cool gadgets to give their operatives. Specifically, like prisoners of war. I read this one thing about they sent a Monopoly board into this German prisoner of war camp, but like the money had real money mixed in and stuff like that. I mean, it's not a gadget per se, but it's still like cool clandestine spy stuff.
Yeah, stuff like that probably. I reckon that stuff like that would probably still have to happen. But no jetpacks or invisible cars.
No jetpacks.
Oh no, jetpacks maybe not that far away.
Have you seen those water jetpacks that you can have a go at? That looks pretty cool.
Yeah, but have you seen there are jetpacks that people fly in? They're not like jet like people fly and
sure,
it's a thing.
Yeah,
but not very practical. But
people have been trying to convince me since the 80s that hoverboards were a real thing and they'll be coming out just in the next couple of years, but I've still yet to see a single hoverboard.
Every time they come, they finally have it, and then you look at it and go, that's not what, that's not right.
It's still got wheels. It's still just a skateboard.
Oh no, there are some that come out that they do hover, but it's got to be on a very specific track.
Yeah, on a magnetic field above a little thing, yeah.
Yeah, you're not riding it. It's hovering, but it's not doing anything.
Look, I tell you though, the one thing that people have been waiting for is the flying car, the hover car, right? But if anyone around who drives around my area is an indication of how it will be when there's fucking flying cars, I don't want to be part of that world.
Look, I think if it does happen, it'll be after self-driving cars become a thing, because they're not going to go, here, have a flying pilot's license, away you go.
Yeah. You can now crash into people 360 degrees all around.
Yeah.
Not just from the side and back and front, from the top and bottom as well.
It is possible it could be in our lifetime. Not.
I mean, we would probably be too old to drive them by then.
Yeah,
but
we
maybe
might
our kids will.
Experience it. It'll be the end of our lifetime, but because you've got to remember the car's only 120 years old.
Yeah.
I think people forget
that's insane.
That type of stuff, like the cars.
Yeah, I read a statistic once that said if the car had developed at the same rate as the computer, then cars would cost $100 and you could fit 10 of them on the tip of a pin by now.
Yeah. Well, yeah, computers, they haven't been around long.
Yeah.
Sort of scary. You're moving too fast. We need to destroy the internet, though, still.
Microsoft announced their new line of Surface products this week, and I've purposely not looked because I have one, and it's the worst computer I've ever had in my life.
Yeah, I'm not a Surface person. I'm not a laptop person. I want a desktop.
I am a laptop person, but the Surface laptop, and that's the Surface laptop, not the Surface Pro that's kind of like a tablet with a keyboard. I got the proper laptop version, and it's the worst, not just the worst laptop I've ever had, the worst computer I've ever had, ever. More problems with this one computer than any computer I've ever had.
Just go desktop. So much better.
I'd less problems with my fucking Pentium 90 than I did with this.
I remember having a Pentium 90.
Man, I was more excited about that Pentium 90 than I have been about any other computer. Suddenly, I could play Doom and not have to wait for it to load. It just played straight away.
Yep. Oh, back in the good old days where you swap RAM and video cards with people. And
Yeah. There was RAM in that Pentium that was probably in your computer, Matt's computer, certainly Dave's computer.
Yep. We always got his sloppy seconds.
There was a video graphics card that was.
I still have it.
You still that? So that was a slut, listeners. It was inside all of our machines.
It was a Voodoo, and we called it a slut because everyone had a turn.
Yeah. I'll say this though: the first time I ever saw that, I think it was AVP. Maybe was that about the time for that? Anyway, it was some kind of first-person shooter where you waded through water at one stage, and I remember seeing through the water, and my mind was fucking blown. I was just like, graphics can't get any better than this.
And now if you were to go to look at those same graphics now, you'd go, what am I looking at? This brown blob?
Correct. But at the same time, I still find, and in fact, I didn't for a while, and I've started to find that era of gaming charming again. And testament to that is that this week I purchased Max Payne and Max Payne 2.
I really want to play them again because I remember playing them at the time and they were great. But I know if I was to go back and try, it's just going to be wrong.
Well, here's the thing. The worst part about them is the game itself, right? Everything else holds up. Because they didn't try and have a really cutting edge, like cut sequences and stuff. They just went with the flat comic panel style. That still holds up. That looks excellent. And they focused in an era of games where voice acting was done without any kind of money or forethought done. Like if you look at the old Resident Evils and stuff like that, they're awful. They're just awful. Whereas this had professional voice actors, professional writers writing the dialogue. That's all really, really good. Textures and stuff are okay. It's not a lot filling the worlds and stuff like that. But
I have with going back to those old games, it's actually the controls.
So Max Payne is not too bad. It's not strict tank controls like you'd play with Resident Evil or GoldenEye or something, where you have to actually just turn the player and then forward is always whichever way they're facing. It's not that.
Yeah.
But what they haven't quite nailed yet is, because it's still the double stick, left stick is player and right stick is camera, right? That's how it always is. But the camera isn't as intuitive as later games would make it. You can accidentally just be looking in the wrong direction quite easily.
That's why I'm looking forward to the remake. And I'm actually very excited now that I found out it's actually a remake, not just not like the Tomb Raiders that just came out, for example. Yeah, we're actually there's a remake. And what I just read an article that they're spending more money on the remake than they spent on Alan Wake 2, which is just...
It's interesting because
back on Alan Wake 2.
Yeah, so evidently they've come out this week and said that they're finally approaching a break-even point with Alan Wake 2, which is good to know, because it's their highest selling game and they'd still manage to lose money somehow.
I did read this. So what I think a lot of times games will make their money back right away, like Grand Theft Auto 5. Basically, they sold that and they went, we're rich.
Yeah.
So Alan Wake 2 is a little bit different, which is bit of a slower burn, but it's got that end of the life of it's a bit longer. So people hear about it and go, I want to play this. Whereas Grand Theft Auto, everyone's going to buy that day one.
Yeah, true. Yeah. I mean, no advertising needed, no word of mouth needed. You either like those games or you don't.
I'm actually, with Grand Theft, before we move back to Max Payne, Grand Theft Auto, I wonder if they're going to throw as much money into advertising as they did for 5. Because remember 5, they advertised everywhere, and that was a huge part of their budget.
I would like to know if that made a difference.
Exactly. Because I reckon if they were to not advertise it that same way and just let it speak for itself, do a couple of game shows, and just here it is.
I wonder how younger gamers get brought into those existing franchises that they were too young to have played the previous one, because I just know those aren't my games anymore, you know, and no cool ad or cool trailer could convince me to buy and play a GTA game, because I just know that's not for me.
Yeah.
But
I still enjoy them. I'm looking forward to it. But what I'm worried about is them focusing too much on the online again, which is what happened with 5.
Yeah.
It became all about the online. I'm sort of like, I don't care about playing with people because people are jerks.
I would say surely we've moved on from that and people have learned that we hate them. But actually, I think it's only old men like us that hate them. I think the young guys, they play them.
They have friends and they have time to play with their friends. And
they play games to be social.
Yeah. Whereas I like the story, and I also like getting achievements.
Yeah. I don't give a shit about achievements, but I do. I play games like I read books. I just consume the story. And
But no, I think Alan Wake shows that there is room for that. And so I'm happy it's now making its money back. And Max Payne, I think, is going to be a great... I'm looking forward to replaying that story because it was a great story as well.
Agree. And I assume that if they're putting all this effort in, it's not just going to be a straight-up remake. I think they're going to probably... Because they're creating their, like, linked universe now, they're probably going to throw a few Easter eggs in there to link this into to Alan Wake and to Control and maybe even to Quantum Break.
They're working on Control 2 at the same time. Control was a weird game. Control took me a little while to get into.
Same. In fact, I abandoned it once before and then had to go back to it. Yeah,
I played through it and I went, no, this isn't that good. Then I went back and I went, oh, no, hold on. It's clicking this time. And
something just about... Yeah, I don't know what it was, because I don't mind if a game's a bit weird. I don't mind if it's a bit different, but there was just something about Control that it didn't hook me.
Yeah.
The first time through.
The second time, I don't know, I got it the second time, and it was a bit more interesting. Maybe, I think it might have been I was trying to play it like a normal shooter. No, this is not just a run here, there. You got to think about it a little bit. And
Yeah. And like the building that you're in, the world that you inhabit is a character in the game.
Yeah,
you know.
Yes,
and it's so important, and the
it's also weird
metaphysics of it.
Like it's weird that this is how games used to be in the past, where you'd always have to backtrack and go here and unlock that, and now everything's very linear. Go here, go here, go here. This one you did have to backtrack. Maybe it was that threw me off.
Yeah, true. We I mean, because like you said, back in the day, like the Metroids and stuff like that, that was just what you did. You knew you were going to walk through the same level because you knew there was a door you couldn't open before. But you've got a key now.
I have to get that key. I have to do this. So could have been part of that. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to throw to Matt. He's going to tell us a little bit about PAX. PAX East. Away you go, Matt.
Where you go.
Hey, guys. Yeah, Jenna and I had a great time at PAX East on the weekend. It's the 20th anniversary of PAX this year, which is amazing, but terrifying for those of us who remember back when they started the first one. It's 13 years since I first went to PAX, and that's also a lot of years. We saw a lot of cool stuff, more than I want to try and squeeze in here, but I did want to mention that I finally got my hands on a sandworm flesh bucket, just for a little bit. It belongs to Funcom, the developers of Dune Awakening, and they let me borrow it, but unfortunately, due to the safety and security guidelines at PAX, I wasn't able to fully test it out. Funcom, if you're listening, you have my information. I'll return it, and it's for science. Let's talk. That's it for now. I have footage and more stuff to talk about, so keep your eyes and or ears open for more coming soon. Back to you in the studio, Dan and Luke.
All right, Matt. Well, I'm sorry to hear that you were brutally sexually assaulted by Jenna. We've got some brutal sexual assault news, but maybe we'll leave that to the after party.
Maybe keep that for the after party. I'm not.
Before we move on from No, I'm not. I want to let it be known I'm not a fan of it either. In game news, though, I did see this review on Steam on the refunded games. Actually, I saw this on the refunded games Reddit. But I'm going to read you this comment.
Okay.
Because this is a game I love, and it's a game that I know you've played.
Okay.
So you just tell me if you can identify. You probably will. The third word in is probably going to give it away, right?
Okay.
But I'll read the whole thing anyway.
Go for it. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Terrible game. Mm-hmm. Communist propaganda. Gay propaganda. Sodomy. Male and male scenes. Complete political statement. Will not be played in Russia. Got a refund as soon as I realised this was going to be social justice warrior, sodomite, fluffy, non-offensive, status quo game, you're confusing me now, that is afraid of offending anyone. Therefore, has no personality and simply promotes socialism the entire game. As a Russian, I find this highly annoying, considering my people were slaughtered in the 100 million plus under Soviet Union and German wars financed by the Rothschild bankers. They're getting very specific now. Game and political bullshit make it even worse. Can you guess what game that is?
I've played this game.
You have.
Did I like this game?
No, I don't think you did.
Okay.
You didn't hate it like this guy did.
Was it that weird game that came out? I can't remember the name of it.
Yes, it was that weird game that came out that you played.
Really cool, and then
you played it on Twitch, and I watched you play it, and you tripped over somebody in a wheelchair and decided not to play it anymore. It's Disco Elysium.
Yep.
And I think you could put that on the poster. Actually, that didn't deter me.
I don't know where he's coming from with that.
I know, right? I mean, I could 100% accept if somebody didn't like that game. Too much reading.
Yeah.
Too slow. Too confusing. Too unlikable a protagonist. All valid.
What he's pulling out of the game is, I think that's more on him.
Yeah.
What the game?
Because, just to be clear, listeners, if you haven't played it, all of this male-on-male sodomite stuff, you meet a gay character at some stage in the game who you only know is gay because there's a suspect you need to question, and it's this guy's lover, and he says he only comes over on a Sunday afternoon and only if I'm in the mood, right? This is just in the whole tapestry of this investigation in this game, right? So I put it this way, that he's had to play quite a bit to get up to this point anyway. And then he's met this gay character and he's been like, sorry, there's sodomites in this game. You know, I was already offended by the communism.
And all the characters that he meets and interacts with the game, there's one person is gay, so that the whole game is about that.
So at one point, you have to go and steal drugs from a passed out man and then give them to that guy's like 10-year-old son so that he can sell them and you split the money with that kid. That was fine with this guy, right?
Yeah.
But just a dude with a boyfriend? Fuck that guy. Deplorable.
This is the thing. Like, people think like they're forcing this down people's throat. It's just inclusion. Is just, hey, they had a character. That's it. That's that's life.
If you had said to me, was there a gay character in Disco Elysium, I'd have to think about it. I'd have to go, oh, was there? Oh yeah, there was. Yeah, there was one that you met that was gay. Yeah. Like, it's not part of the story. It's just part of the world, right? Yeah. Like, it's not like you work out that he's gay and then slap the cuffs on him.
Dragon Age 2 or 3 or whatever it was, there was a trans character and people were, the world's gone crazy, they're trying to force it. There's one character out of all.
Yeah.
That's...
In Mass Effect, you could fuck a bird alien.
That's fine.
And nobody complained.
No one complained about that. They were a bit upset with the fact that, the two men can. Oh,
yeah.
hold on.
They weren't upset that the two women could. Yeah. They were fine with that. Yeah.
Yeah, gay's only bad if it's two men.
Yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think in the second one, You could only be a lesbian, right? But you couldn't have male and male with
No, you could. Yep.
the men. Oh, you could in that too.
Yep.
Okay.
I just realised something I just said could be very clipped out of context.
Repeat it?
No, you have to listen back.
I'll scroll back.
No, I've never understood why people get so... It's just...
Yeah.
You see yourself in everything. Why can't other people get a chance to see themselves in something?
Well, clearly this dude saw himself a little too clearly, right?
And I don't think he was happy about that.
And he wasn't happy with it. When you stare into the darkness stares back. Yeah. I remember years ago when I first started watching in TV, things were rated higher if they were same gender sex scenes as they were mixed gender, which I always thought it was interesting. Yeah. Don't want to see that. I want to show my kids.
Because that's the big thing. A lot of people, they're trying to force it onto their children. No, they're not.
Yeah.
That's not how this works. You see the people who get upset with, like, if someone from that sort of community does like a book reading or something. Well, you could also organise to go down a book reading for children. Like, there's no problem. You don't want to do that because that's
Yeah, it never entered your head that you might want to do that until you saw a trans person reading a trans children's book to children.
There was also, remember the Wonder Woman when that movie came out? Some people got together and go, we're going to have an all-women screening, and men were getting upset and go, well, where's the men's screening? And so, like, you can organise
it, mate. Yeah, this isn't a state official woman screening. No. It's not a law they've passed.
You can do exactly the same thing, and it's fine. You just... Yeah.
At Randwick Ritz, when the movie 300 came out about the Spartans at Thermopylae, they had a Greeks-only screening, right? No one said that was racist because they were only letting Greeks in. It was a movie about ancient Greece.
Hey, we're going to get together, we're going to enjoy this, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, just...
Mind you, as soon as I say that, maybe if you had a whites-only screening, it wouldn't work.
I think that's a little bit different.
But it is different because of context.
Yes. But I know every year, Women's International Women's Day comes up, and even at work, I still have people put in the chat.
Every year someone asks,
where's Men's International Men's International Day? And people have to point out, well, it's on this day. Like, there is one.
Yeah. But also, every other day.
Every other day.
That's why we have this. Yeah.
But you also do have one. If you were that concerned about it, you would probably know that.
Well, it's like in America. I mean, I know we don't have this here, but I hear about it so often because, like, the internet is essentially just America magnified. But parents who don't want their schools to have Black History Month, and they're like, when's White History Month? 11 of the other months are that. That's why you have one dedicated to Black history.
Oh, speaking about America, and I need to talk about this, because you know how I love watching, like, First Amendment auditors and all of this?
Yes.
And I'm fascinated by one of the horrible people who was out there, police are bad and all this, and doing all this stuff, just got sentenced to 6 months in jail.
Oh.
So the whole thing is, like, they go and film police.
Yes.
And they involve themselves with it, and they go, oh, you're arresting me because I'm filming. And so, like, no, I'm arresting you because I told you to go over there while I'm dealing with this. Like, you're stopping me from doing my job. And they don't understand. They think it's the filming, not the fact that you're yelling at them.
Yeah.
So he got charged. It's been a year. He's been postponing it. Went to court.
Yeah.
Got found guilty because he was, even though he's got First Amendment, I'm allowed to do this. No, First Amendment says you're allowed to do this part. Walking up, getting in the way, but no.
Yeah.
Prosecutors go, look, we just want him to go on like a impulse control course, 6 months, 90 days suspended sentence. So that means he doesn't have to do the time unless he does something else wrong and then goes in.
Yeah.
Then his lawyer goes, hey, we just want time served. And he didn't want to do this. And the judge was, well, no, he wants to do this. Like, he's made it clear that he wants to interject himself. He feeds off this. And he starts nodding and going, like, he hates police. And he's nodding. And he goes, like, even at the start, he called one of the bailiffs a pig. And he goes, yep. And then goes, And then she calls out, like, you're nodding. And he goes, yep. He goes, I hate police. And she goes, great. So 90 days. So she gives him, he was 2 charges, 90 days on the first one, 90 days on the second one to serve concurrently. So he has to serve 180 days in jail when he could have just got just a slap
suspended
on the wrist, essentially. But yeah, he just. And it's great.
What is this? I saw one video where there's this dude who was saying, and I don't remember the science of it. But his argument was something about he was sitting there in court saying, your ruling doesn't affect me because I don't acknowledge the laws of this court. And they're like, I mean, you can say that all you want, but when I sentence you, the bailiff will escort you to prison. Like,
and where this sort of comes from. There's a thing out there that jurisdiction can be challenged at any time.
Right.
So it's from a court case that was like I think it got to sort of end, and it went, hold on, we're going to challenge jurisdiction, and it worked out that hey, like he wasn't actually in this jurisdiction, so you can't charge him. So
right.
They've taken this. I can challenge that at any time to being. I can challenge that as many times as I want, as many times, and you can't do anything. Where it's like, no, you were here, this has happened, and my court looks over that, so you are. They don't understand things.
Yeah, and there are, as you say, like there is precedent for those challenges and stuff, but they're the exception that proves the rule. Like the fact that, oh yes, somebody exploited a loophole once, so that loophole was there, but it was a loophole. Not the normal thing that everyone's meant to do.
There was a reason behind that. It wasn't, this is it.
Do you remember the security guard at the Warrington County shopping village who he used to be a cop and he ended up being a security guard? We used to chat with him when we were there at night sometimes. Mm-hmm. But he was telling us once that there was a whole bunch of stuff to look at. Like if the cop does any one thing wrong during the arrest and that gets brought up later, they could throw out the whole arrest because he wasn't following procedure, right? Yep. Even stuff like he's like, learn the order things are supposed to be on your belt, right? Because there's a strict order stuff happens to be on your... If he's hung his keys on this side instead of on that side, and you don't say anything at the time but you notice, then later on you can be like, well, he wasn't properly attired and stuff like that.
I think they've worked out that the belts and stuff, that's stupid.
Yeah, I completely agree. But
I think like having identification and...
and if he doesn't... all of that stuff, right?
Yeah.
But that's just to show that the system itself it cannot be perfect. It's an imperfect system.
It's never going to be 100% correct, but
for some reason to just think the system doesn't apply to you, I just don't know where that came from.
Like the malls are a great one. Like I'm an American national. That's all. Like that doesn't mean anything. According to that means that if we go overseas, we can do anything we want because I'm not a resident here, so it's fine. They don't they can't accept that.
Yeah.
But they fascinate me. God,
I found out recently, I was chatting with a lawyer who was telling me that state laws in Australia can mean that as a New South Wales resident, there's certain laws of New South Wales that I have to obey even when I'm overseas, that somebody from Victoria who goes overseas doesn't have to obey.
She's one for you that I've heard that I don't know if it's true, but I've heard that. So, you got your New South Wales driver license.
Yeah.
You can do 110 kilometres an hour on that. Mm-hmm. In Western Australia, they've got a higher speed limit. But your license doesn't allow for that. So when you're hiring a car there, when they track it, go, well, no, you're speeding. Even though you're doing the speed limit there, your license doesn't allow that.
I believe that actually, because that's just the same as if you're a P plater, you can only go 90, even if you're in 120 zone.
Yes.
So I believe that.
Does that. Whereas when I had an ACT license, that was you can do whatever the speed limit is, but New South Wales has a limit. So
when we were kids, we used to kind of hear that ACT laws were like extremely lax. Are they as lax as we thought they were?
Really, like they decriminalised marijuana, I think. So like you could have a plant in your house type of thing. It was more about selling it, and you're not allowed to use it.
Sure.
But if you had a plant, you could have one.
Right. Okay. So you couldn't get sent to jail for owning the plant.
Yeah. And you used to be able to get like fireworks here, and this was the only place you could buy porn at one stage.
Yeah. That got exaggerated. I remember somebody was like, child pornography is perfectly legal in Canberra because the politicians want to read it. And I was like, I don't think that's true.
Actually used to work at it like a sex shop. And he said,
okay,
the biggest time we had the time we were the busiest was when we had a Christian convention down.
Amazing. Yeah.
All right. We need to talk about this next scene because I need someone to explain to me how it can work.
Yeah, okay.
How can you make a Sims adaptation?
Well,
the Sims is the thing.
If I hadn't have seen the Barbie movie, I might have thought that you could kind of do it like the Barbie movie, whereas a character in The Sims finds out that they're actually being played by a child in the real world. But that's been done. It's called the Barbie movie. It stars Margot Robbie. But just to put the cherry on top of this cake, it's Margot Robbie who's going to be adapting The Sims.
But
she's just going to make her way through all the old video games and toys from our childhood.
Barbie, I could sort of understand. Like that world sort of does make a little bit of sense. Like here are the ideas of it, and like you got the weird Barbie that everyone had, the one that's been drawn on and be fun.
Yeah,
like that was,
cut the hair.
It was the type of Barbie, and then there was only one type of that Barbie in that world, and they all lived together. But this is a little bit different. Whereas. I don't
because it's a simulation of just real life. You just get up in the morning and go to work and hang pictures on the wall, right? Is there more to The Sims than that? I played the first one.
I played the first and the second one. Though they can be fun.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they can be fun, but I mean, it's.
I can see where it's fun. Like you've got to control it. You've got to make them like interact with people, get promotions.
Okay,
but. I can't see the movie in that. I really can't.
Yeah, I'm struggling as well.
But they did Barbie, so maybe it could work.
Please don't do The Sims before you've done the He-Man movie. I want the He-Man movie. I want a good He-Man movie.
You know what? Masters of the Universe?
Fuck me. So bad. Even as a kid, 5-year-old kid, I was like, this is not He-Man.
Yeah. It was nothing to do with He-Man. The start of it sort of was...
Yeah, sort of.
Sort of. It was...
And actually, Skeletor, pretty good. Frank, I Can Touch Who I Want, Langella, pretty good as Skeletor.
But then they come to Earth, and then it just... Yeah, any resemblance to He-Man.
Yeah. I blame Star Wars in a way, too, because Star Wars was this kind of big space epic, but it was a teenage boy as the lead character. And everyone was like, and teenage boys once saw it and liked it. So they were like, okay, everything's got to be about teenage boys. And where do they live? With their parents in suburbia. And it's like, well, hold on. Star Wars wasn't set in suburbia with a kid that lived with his parents and got taken up to space. But then every movie was that. And some did them quite well. Last Starfighter, Explorers, Flight of the Navigator. But every movie was that.
The other thing I love about Star Wars, and it sort of is... And so same thing sort of happened to Simpsons. When Star Wars first came out, everyone loved Luke. Luke was their character. And The Simpsons was everyone Bart. Bart is... And then as you get a bit older and see more, it became Han Solo. And the same thing Simpsons was Homer. That was the...
Yeah. I remember when we went and saw the third one. Was it the third one? Yeah, must have been. Yeah, must have been when we saw the third one for the first time, Return of the Jedi. I said to my dad, did you know that, did you guess that I was about to say Bart Simpson, that Luke Skywalker and Princess Leia were brother and sister? And my dad truly was just like, yes, I did, because Harrison Ford has become a bigger movie star than Mark Hamill, and somehow they had to make it so that those two couldn't kiss anymore. And I was like, huh.
That sort of takes the fun out of it a bit.
Yeah, it really did. Yeah. So, The Simpsons got weird, though, after a while. Simpsons is another thing where at a certain point I'd be like, that was my favourite show, and now I'm like, no, don't like it, wouldn't watch it, couldn't pay me enough to watch it.
I don't know how it's still going, and I stopped watching it over 10
years ago.
The same about
Star Wars.
Star Wars I still watch. But they're missing the point with the new Star Wars stuff.
They do a good one, and then they don't understand why it's good, and they ruin it.
let's throw Jedis into it. No. Star Wars wasn't about Jedis. They were there in the original ones.
Yeah.
And this battle, but that wasn't the whole the Force and Jedi.
And the whole point was that not many people used the Force. Only like really old people that still remembered when there was a time where you did use it.
Yeah. But now,
and even Han Solo said, "Yeah, I've come across the Force before, and I've just shot the people." Like, like
I don't understand it now. Like he's the last Jedi. Will he be? No, there's a million of them out there.
Yeah, there's tons. There are literally tons. Yeah. Mind you, anytime I start romanticizing the original trilogy of Star Wars, I start remembering some of the other stuff George was talking about, and there's definitely a clip where George is talking about how the Force, the first Jedi, was meant to be Luke Skywalker's like great grandfather, and it's like, no, don't do that.
No, just put me in charge. I can fix it.
I don't even like it that they made that family line special at all. I don't even like that Darth Vader is Luke Skywalker's father. I still don't like that. I think it was better when Luke was just a kid whose uncle didn't want him to join the army because that dude's brother had gotten killed. That was interesting.
I like there's too many Jedi. There's too many. It's like Superman.
Okay. Well, then my question to you is, are you going to watch The Acolyte when it comes out next month?
I probably will.
Good, because I'd rely on you to watch it and tell me about it, because honestly, I'd given up at Boba Fett, and I wasn't even going to watch Andor until you told me it was good.
I still go back and say, when you two saw Boba Fett come out in The Mandalorian, you two were excited about Boba Fett. I picked out then that this was bad.
Yeah.
And then they made the show.
Yeah, unless they were like, you know what, Jeremy Bullock's coming back, and we're going to do Boba Fett properly.
But look, I'll watch it. Like, Ahsoka wasn't bad. I could see what people would get more out of it if they had grown up watching Rebels and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So you sort of miss some of the things, but it wasn't terrible. But again, it's all, get away from the Jedi. Give us Andor. Give us Rogue One. Give us...
Yeah. Well, this looks like it might be a sort of departure in that it's set 100 or so years before the prequels. So hopefully there are no Skywalkers or...
It better not be.
Et cetera, et cetera.
Because there can't be, because the Skywalker
well,
name...
don't underestimate their ability to shoehorn shit in.
Because remember, the Skywalker name isn't... Because Shmi Skywalker is Anakin's mother.
Yes.
A
slave.
The Force was her pregnant.
Impregnated by the Force, yeah.
Yes. So there can't be a history there if they try and throw that in there.
Yeah.
And I still wonder, like, you're a slave in a terrible place. Was it really?
Yeah. I did see, sometimes they just put memes that are just a still from a movie with just, like, new dialogue written in. I saw one and it was Mace Windu chewing out Qui-Gon Jinn when he comes back. And he's like, yeah, I mean, we did send you out for a trade negotiation, and then I found out that you won a boy while gambling on a pod race.
And look,
evidently that's coming back to theaters for the 25th anniversary, 30th anniversary.
Okay. Normally it's normally at the they're normally on the movies every year though.
This,
like, they'll do May the 4th screenings.
Yeah, I don't go in for a lot of retro screenings. I think because I just watch movies when I want to watch them. I watch old movies all the time. But, like, you often hear, Blade Runner screening at this cinema and stuff, and I'm like, oh, okay, that could be good.
I think about it, and then I go, no. But I'm
not going to go see The Force Awakens, Phantom Menace.
No, I
Force
have been
Awakens,
a few times
maybe.
to see, like, I've been every few years I will go to, like, the original trilogy, because it's nice to see that on the big screen.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I mean, when they did the special editions, it was the first time I'd seen it on the big screen, and I was psyched. And even though they put a whole bunch of shit in there that wasn't meant to be there,
to see it, it didn't matter. I remember
matter.
They released them one each week.
Yeah,
it was on a Thursday that it came out. I went to each week went and saw, and it was amazing because it was the first time you got to experience it.
It was also the most packed I'd ever seen a cinema. Like I finally understood why there were as many chairs in a cinema as there are.
Yeah.
Because up until then, it's just like a few people each row.
Yeah. I like going to the movies in the middle of the day now, if I can. They're empty, and it's basically a private screening. Except a couple of times I've had to walk out and go, can you start the movie? Or sometimes there's like loud music playing in there, and it's sort of like, can you turn the music off? And
yeah.
Because there's like
if there were
only me in there.
If there were 500 people in here, it would mute the sound, but it's just me.
Yep.
Yeah. There were hardly any people when I saw Dune last week. It takes them a lot to get me to the movies now, though.
No, I haven't been in a long time. I want to go because I do enjoy going, but there's just nothing I want to see.
So I saw a movie this week that was quite good, actually, and maybe I should have put this in follow-up because actually a former host of this show recommended it on air about 10 years ago, and I just didn't listen. But then I saw End of Watch pop up the other day, and I thought, I'll pop that on. So this is Jake Gyllenhaal and Michael Pena, just as cops in LA. It's South Central, and it's just, I mean, it looks very realistic. If this is really what it's like, this looks like the most terrifying place on earth. But the movie is very good. It's very good. The only thing I didn't like about it, though, at the start, they set up that the reason, because it's all like not found footage, but it's all like available footage, right? Handy cams and dash cams and stuff like that.
Yep.
And they set up that Jake Gyllenhaal's character is going for a degree and he has to film a day on the beat. So that's why he's filming. So there's so many people going, turn that off, I don't want to be filmed, that kind of stuff too. But then there's scenes like that aren't with him that they have to justify why somebody's filming as well. So there's this drive-by shooting and this lady's like, I'm going to film it. And you're like, why? Why would you film this? But then also, like, there's a sex scene. And it's still filmed in the same kind of shaky, zoomy cam as everything else, so it fits in the movie. But who films it, right? And the weird thing is, they've established that his best friend, his partner, also has a camera. But they're like, is he there? Is that what they're implying? That he's fucking watching this?
In the corner watching this?
Yeah. Fucking yeah.
I did see something that's at the movies now that I have a feeling it's not going to be good because I've not heard anything about it and didn't know what was happening. There's a new Ghostbusters.
Yeah, I saw the trailer for this when I went to see Dune.
Yeah, Ghostbusters. When did this happen?
So the thing is, right, and original cast are in it, not just as cameos like in the last one. They seem to just be back in the Ghostbusters, as well as the new cast from the last movie. Now, when the last movie came out, I was pretty excited because we hadn't had a Ghostbusters movie in 30 years, and it was actually quite good. And they did the cameos, I thought, in a really respectful way as well. Yeah. And it was a nice little full stop on the end of the franchise. No, it made too much money. Here's another one.
Yeah.
And guess what? Slimer's in it. Fucking Marshmallow Man's in it. Like, all of these things that have no business being there.
But what scares me is normally you'd see ads or something for this. I've not heard anything about this. It's not even like it's coming out. So it's out.
Yeah. Also, like it was this huge big deal about like, will Bill Murray be in the last one because he says no to so many movies, and then so when he finally was in it, and we knew that was like huge news. In this trailer, they don't even set it up like, oh, and Bill Murray's back. He's just there like he's not a famous person. Like it's so underwhelming.
Oh, maybe I'll go see it. I like Bill Murray.
I love Bill Murray.
I like how he just rocks up to people's houses.
Does their dishes.
You have a party, I'll do the dishes. See you later.
And if you heard, he has no agent, right? He just has an answering machine.
And that's why he missed out on shows, because...
Yeah.
He just...
But I thought that might have been bullshit, but then I heard Sofia Coppola talking about how she got him for Lost in Translation, and she was like, for ages I didn't know if he'd even knew he was up for the role because I'd left the message like I was told to do, and eventually he rang me back and was like, yeah, I'll do the movie.
But I also worry about him a little bit.
Go on.
Oh, there's just a horrible scene in Meatballs.
Mm-hmm.
It's
been a long time since I've seen that.
Grapey.
All those sex comedies from the 80s were a bit rapey, though.
Yeah, but look, go watch Meatballs, and you'll see what I mean. Like, it's...
Is Meatballs, is that Harold Ramis? Is that Dom?
There's a lot of Meatballs movies, but they're all very different. They've just got the same name.
Oh, okay, sure.
Like, one's got a ghost in it, the next one's got an alien in it. It's...
Ivan Reitman. Yeah, okay. Bill Murray's first film appearance. Highest grossing Canadian film. Start of 6 collaborations between Bill Murray and Harold Ramis.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You know what? I might not have even seen this.
It's not actually a bad movie.
I feel like I have, but none of this looks familiar. Okay. He's a camp counselor or something, is he?
Yes. Yep.
That was always a good start.
Let me know what you think. And you'll know the scene I'm talking about.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, because, I mean, I don't know about this movie, but a lot of these comedies from the 80s were about somebody trying to have sex with one other specific person who, set up from the start, does not want to have sex with them.
Yeah.
Well, and that it's always the payoff is that they finally do somehow.
One of the most famous ones, Revenge of the Nerds, where it's just straight up rape.
That's just rape. Yeah. When you disguise yourself as someone else. Yeah. Mm. Yeah.
But they just played off, I didn't know, it was you. Well, no wonder it was so good. Well, yeah, we're nerds, so we're more attentive. It's sort of like, no, that's not your reaction to what just happened, that was good.
So many movies did that. Twin brothers going in and having a go, clones going in and having a go. Even Excalibur from that same era, I think that's 1980, same thing. In the start, he's like, Merlin, I want to bang this chick. And he's like, I'll make you look like her husband. Okay, that's not cool.
You know what I think's funny? Porky's, I think, do that well. Not
sure.
Bad
it's been years since I've seen Porky's as well. I'm not going to even remember.
You know, Porky's, while you think it is a bit like that, it's not quite. It's a little bit different.
More self-aware.
Watch the trilogy.
The trilogy.
The Porky's trilogy.
Porky's Revenge.
So you've got homework, but just do Meatballs, because Porky's trilogy will take your time. But do Meatballs.
Yeah, Porky's 2. I remember seeing this video cover.
Yeah.
I think I was too young to see these movies.
Porky's Revenge, I think, is the third one.
Yeah. Okay. I will. Even like, so my favourite movies when I was a kid were the Police Academy movies, right? Very funny. But a lot of the jokes were about non-consensual sex.
Well,
a lot of the jokes.
There's just, like, the scene where they hired a prostitute to go under the stand, and she just starts blowing them.
Yeah.
And that's just... And it's just played, this is happening.
Yeah. He just goes with it. And then he sticks his head out later, and so he thinks it was someone else. Yeah. Then there's that running gag that anyone who goes into a gay bar gets fucked.
Yes. Like, just because those cops walked in there, and they were there...
They're getting fucked now.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that was fine. That was all normal back then.
I've been to gay bars. You know what happened? Just had a drink.
Lovely time.
Yeah, just had a drink. Sometimes had a dance.
Yep. Meet some new people sometimes.
Yeah.
Have a chat.
Yeah. A lot of women like to go to them because they know that most of the men there aren't going to try to grope them.
Yep. I've been picked up at a gay bar.
Nice. That's the ultimate compliment, I think.
By a woman.
Oh, okay, sure. Yeah. Yeah. I always get really flattered when some gay dude thinks I'm handsome because I'm like, well, I mean, the other guys here look like they go to the gym for 6 hours a day. So if you've picked me, that's
and as we've spoken about, we do not go to the gym.
No, we do not.
Oh,
well, you do.
One time today.
Yeah, but I mean, it was today. So
today, yeah.
That's very, very current.
You know where we should go now?
The gym?
No, the after party.
Oh yeah, what's the after party?
The after party is where we'll continue this conversation for another 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes, who knows?
Yeah, yeah.
And the way you can get to hear that is if you go to patreon.com/multiplenergasm, and if you can give us however much you want. $1 a month gives you like a little bit of extras.
Gets you in the club.
But the $5 a month will get you the after party where you can listen to us talk for a little bit longer, if that's what you feel like.
Yep, and we're going to have the sex crime news that we promised.
Yep.
No, it's good news. It's good news, Luke.
Oh, okay. Good sex crime news.
Yeah, it's not like funny sex crime news like in Porky's. Or not Porky's.
Not
Meatballs.
Porky's. Porky's a good one. Meatballs.
Yeah, yeah. So there's also one where this guy ejaculated in spaghetti and then served it up to his friends. All of this fucking 80s stuff are like...
Yeah,
that's not cool either.
There's a few shows about that where it's that's funny.
Yeah, it was very funny.
That's all for this week. Thank you for listening, and we hope you enjoyed the show. If you enjoyed it, then please subscribe in iTunes to receive episodes automatically. We'll see you next time.